Kris, from your vantage point, kind of what happened there from the 4-2 lead to the ultimate outcome?
Just some really bad mistakes, whether it was defense not getting the puck out or not being supported, line changes not where it should have been. Just some costly mistakes that shouldn't happen.
So I think a tough game for Evan Bouchard. He said that he has to be better. What did you kind of see from his play and from your vantage point?
Definitely seen Evan play a lot better than that. The first one, the falls, gives up the breakaway. We had some other guys that didn't play their best either. So I'm not just putting this on Evan. Evan's obviously one of our best players, and usually you got to count on those guys to win and lose games. If you're winning games, they're usually your best players, but they can't be our best players every night. It was a tough night for Evan, but he doesn't have those very often.
You said the other night that you didn't like how much he gave up, and then obviously there's a fair amount there tonight. You've been really good defensively for a little while here. What do you see maybe the last couple of games that you've gotten away from a little bit?
Well, sometimes when you get really good goaltending, you rely on that, and your details aren't that good defensively. And when you're not continually getting those saves, you just rely on that stellar goaltending, and you don't necessarily think about the details on defensive play. And some of the things tonight, just not getting the puck out, the importance of changes, the discipline of not taking penalties, stuff like that.
Kachuk's goal late in the first period, based on perhaps other reviews you've seen, how are you feeling when that was getting looked at for a kick?
Obviously, I'm very biased, my perspective when I see it. I know there's calls that are very close. Florida just had one against Calgary 2 nights ago. I believe there was one in Seattle sometime in November. Those two got disallowed, but I know Will Cooley from the Rangers scored a goal that was very similar that they allowed. So it's great. It's really close.
One thing you always say is that even regardless if Evan's maybe not having his best night, when you're behind, you want to play him a whole bunch because he helps you to catch up.
Yeah.
Is there a balance there as a coach when you got a guy that's maybe just not having a great game, but you want to keep running him out there? How do you sort of square that?
When one of your top players is having a bad game, you have to believe that they're going to find their game and make the play when it's important. And if there's a longer stretch on not playing well, whether that's different players, different circumstances, some players have longer leashes, some have short. And you ultimately believe that the player is going to turn around his game, because if you think about how many times a player plays the first shift and makes a mistake, and if you make the judgment on he's not ready to play, bench him. Most often you're going to regret that decision. But it's not a black and white on the player.
You talked to how well Connor Brown's playing after last year's struggles to score goals.
Yeah, Connor's been playing really well. Obviously he's been a big part of our penalty kill. Right now, having the things go his way right now, scoring goals. But you see how he's shooting the puck the other night at the shorthanded goal. How he caught that and released it right away, picked a corner tonight, no hesitation, just one time that shot. So here's a player that's playing really well, and probably deserving a little more responsibilities and ice time.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is there a line where you say, okay, this player's starting to score, he shouldn't be necessarily playing where I've got him playing right now. He should be playing a little higher up in the lineup.
Like you look at Corey Perry, who's got 6 goals tonight. He's been contributing on that fourth line. Connor Brown, definitely. He's another guy that's been playing really well, and rely on him defensively. And now he's contributing quite a bit offensively. Yeah, that's somebody that definitely deserves a little more.
Kris, what went into your decision to put Hyman, McDavid, and Draisaitl together kind of late in the first period there?
I just think that we had a couple bad shifts, and it just came after the timeout, after the 6 minutes remaining timeout, and just felt that we needed a little push to finish off the period, and it was a great push. They scored immediately, and I think my decision was just to keep them together.
Kris, there'll be games tonight. It was kind of an odd game. You saw guys falling when they normally wouldn't fall when no one's around them. It led to goals against, chances thwarted. You mentioned your team was obviously giving up too much tonight. That really hasn't been the case for quite a while. A little bit in Vegas. When you give up 6, do you find is it easier to get the team's attention to get back on track than maybe you give up 2 and play really sloppy?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to tell a team to tighten up defensively after 1 or 2 goals against performance. And a lot of times you rely on your goaltender, and goaltender covers up some mistakes. And, you can be terrible defensively and not give up any goals or few goals because the goaltending is so good. And, that can go the other way too. You can be really good defensively and your goaltender can disappoint you. But, I think after the last 2 games, the amount of chances that we've given up, I think we should have a little more attention to detail, defensive side of it.
Late in the first, there Nurse gets an extra 2 for unsportsmanlike conduct. Is that a situation where the player needs to button lip a little bit, or the referee needs to?
Yeah, you're not giving yourself any favors yelling at the referees. One, you're either going to take another penalty, maybe a 10, a 2, or if you're not going to the box for an extra, it's just you're more likely just upsetting the referee, who are more likely to call a penalty you later on the game. So yeah, it's no matter who you are, it doesn't help you at all yelling at the referees.
Kris, it could have been much more damaging for Zach Hyman after getting that in the face, but he managed to come back. When you're watching that from the bench, were you thinking, oh no, this does not look good?
Yeah, we were obviously really worried about him, and the fact that he skated under his will to the bench surprised me. I thought he'd be laying on the ice, but obviously, obviously tough enough, and knew that he needed attention to get to the bench quickly. We saw him in between periods, and we're very fortunate that it didn't get more of his head than it did. We're lucky because Zach's a very important player to our team, and all things considered, it could have been worse.